Hi and welcome back to my channel. I am Koala and this is my little nook in this end of the universe that we call YouTube. I am a shamanic practitioner mainly within Nordic shamanism, and I'm here today to talk about Eir, a goddess in the Nordic tradition. And in this video I will talk about who Eir is, my relationship to her, how I celebrate and honor her and get to know her deeper, how you can do these things together with me in April of 2026, and how you can get to know Eir on your own if you don't have the opportunity to join me. And then I wanna thank you for watching again. So, who is Eir? Eir is a goddess that is one of 9 women that lives with another goddess called Menglad on something called Lyfjeberget, which is the mountain of healing, the mountain of medicine. And Eir is called the best of the doctors, the best of the medicine women. And her name means mercy and help, which is what she gives to other people, to other gods and goddesses. So in some sources her purpose is to be an all-encompassing medicine woman among the goddesses, and in some sources she is mainly focused on healing herbs and plants and plant medicine, and that is kind of how I work with her. So yeah, in a previous video I talked about Idun and her medicine and her rejuvenating medicine, and we in some sources Eir is Idun, and Idun is one of the facets of Eir, but I distinguish between these because I feel like every goddess and every god has their own purpose, their own medicine, their own powers, and I mainly work with Eir and her healing powers of the earth and the plants and the herbs, so the earth, herbs and plants. And I have been doing so for a few years. I haven't really dove deeper into Eir and strengthening my relationship with Eir or getting to know Eir until a couple of years ago, with the culmination of last year. So last year, 2025, in March, I underwent a major surgery. I underwent top surgery, FTM top surgery, and for the first few weeks of that I had to adhere to the doctor's orders, with the medicine that they provide and the pharmaceutical medicine that they provide, and I wanted to really do everything that they said because I wanted to make sure that there's no infection and that sort of thing. So when I had gone through that period of time and the doctor gave me an all clear to do kind of whatever I want, continuously, just as long as I can take care of myself, then I invited Eir to work with me, and it was timed in the best way possible because I had my surgery in March, and then in April, when I usually celebrate and honor her and meet her in ceremony, that is exactly the time when I got the all clear to do whatever I wanted. So I could invite her with a good conscience and work with her healing herbs and healing medicine and plant medicine. And I did that, and it was a wonderful time for me last year. I really enjoyed my time with Eir, and I enjoyed diving deeper into that and using the medicine that I got from her to keep healing on my journey. So that is kind of my relationship with her, and she's not someone that I connect to a specific time of year, except for maybe the spring, but she's not connected to the spring equinox for me you know, to celebrate together with the spring equinox, like with Idun. She's not connected to the autumn equinox or the summer solstice like other goddesses are. She's just one that I really connect with, the time of spring, and when here in Sweden we get the small buds on the trees, and we can step out into nature and really feel the earth come to life, and the plants and the herbs come to life. And some of them we can harvest in their, you know, in their infancy, and other ones we have to wait for, but all of them we can start to get to know and work with on a spiritual level before we can work with them on a physical level. So that's kind of where I place Eir in the Wheel of the Year, and that is why I honor her, celebrate her, and work with her in April. So how do I celebrate and honor her? Well, I do this in one of my goddess ceremonies, Nordic Goddess Ceremonies, and sometimes I meet up friends as well to, you know, work with Eir within my friends' gardens, because I don't have a garden. Everything that I harvest is from nature, from Mother Nature. We are fortunate here in Sweden to have something that is called allemansrätten, and which makes it so that we can go out into nature, and as long as we're not destroying anything or take more than necessary, we can harvest a lot of things like berries and mushrooms, and also a lot of the plants, unless there's a specific protection on that area, like a national park or a reserve or something like that. But we can more or less go out and harvest what we need and what we want. Not many people do harvest herbs in that way or plants in that way that I know of. I have met some when I do it, but there's not a lot of people. Most people that harvest herbs and plants grow them in their own garden. So part of my celebration and honoring her can be together with friends in the early spring, and just celebrating the medicine and the abundance of herbal and plant medicine in nature. And then we have the goddess ceremonies, where I meet and we meet the goddesses and you know, receive their medicine and their knowledge and wisdom. So this is something that you can do together with me, and I will talk about that now. So in April we will meet in a goddess ceremony on Patreon, on my Patreon, on the tier of shamanic ceremonies. And also, if you are a member on the tier of shamanic practitioner, the highest tier, you will also have access to these ceremonies. And everyone who's a member on either of those tiers is automatically invited to each and every goddess ceremony, because that's kind of the focus of the tier of shamanic ceremonies. Even though there are other ceremonies happening on that tier as well during the year or throughout the year. So that is the place for you to join me. So you need to become a member on that tier, and I will have the price in Swedish in the description box, and then you have to add VAT to that when you calculate what cost is in your currency. So keep that in mind, that there's a 25% VAT on that. So as I said, there's also the option of joining the tier of shamanic practitioner. That includes everything on tier apprentice as well, so the course tier, where we are currently working with the runes. So it depends on what your interest is. If you're only interested in joining me in goddess ceremonies or this specific goddess ceremony, then I would urge you to join the tier of shamanic ceremonies in the beginning of April, because that is when, or in late March, because that is when I will post information for this ceremony on how and where we will meet, because I try to co-host these ceremonies in a virtual space where we can see each other, talk to each other, like on a video call of some sort. I used to use Zoom for this, but I won't anymore, so I am currently looking for another option that could work for me and for you. So when I'm recording this, I don't know what that virtual space will be, but you will have access to that if you are a member on my Patreon. You might have to download something else, like an app on your phone or something, to be able to access the meeting depending on where I host it. But if you are not able to do that, or if you are not able to join me when the ceremony takes place, then you can always watch the recording afterwards and join me when you have the time. So when you join me on that tier, you will get notifications via email when I post something that is regarding the ceremonies. So if you want to join me with celebrating Eir and getting to know Eir, then you will get a notification via email when I have posted information about that, and whatever link or information about where we meet, or if it's going to be live on Patreon. And then you will get a notification when the recording is available on Patreon. So yeah, I hope to see you there. Ceremony will look like this. We meet in the virtual space, and we introduce ourselves if we haven't met before, and then I open sacred space and invite the goddess of Eir to join us, and then I talk about Eir and the purpose of the ceremony a bit more again. Other than what I've talked about today, I talk about, the purpose of the ceremony and Eir's role in the ceremony a bit more. And then you also get the chance to tell us what you have brought into the circle, because we bring something into the circle, into the ceremony, that is a symbol of Eir or our connection with her, just to help us connect to her. And then we go into a meditative state to meet her in the middle world. And when we get out of that, we write down anything that we need to write down. You get time to do that. And then we share what we want to share and need to share about that. And then we close sacred space. So what you need to write down in the ceremony are your own experiences and maybe answers to questions that you have gotten during the meditation. Anything that you can't write down afterwards when you watch the recording, because if you want to remember like the layout of the ceremony or something like that, then you can look at the recording afterwards and write those things down. Or if you want to meet Eir again because maybe you missed something, or I have had people fall asleep to my voice. So if you do that, you might want to have a do-over. That's perfectly fine. So that's what that looks like. And if you can't join me, then you can of course get to know her on your own, and you can do that in a lot of different ways. With Eir, I would suggest that if you're new to her, that you do a ceremony outdoors, and sit among the plants and the herbs that you want to work with, and you have the scents in the air when you do it. And then you open some kind of sacred space or a circle, invite Eir in, and maybe use divinational tools like runes or tarot cards or oracle cards or whatever you master and are comfortable with, to ask questions. Ask Eir some questions, and maybe it has to do with your own healing and healing journey if you're on one of those. And maybe it can be, how can you get to know Eir better, what can she help you with, and that sort of thing. So whatever you are asking and wanting to know, you can focus on that. Or you can do a meditation with her and just receive her medicine and her healing, especially when you're outdoors amongst all of the healing herbs and plants in your area. So there's different ways to get to know Eir, and just do what resonates best with you. And I hope to see you in my ceremony. And with that said, I want to thank you for joining me and watching this video about Eir, and I hope to see you soon. Walk in beauty, walk with Eir. Shingling!